Hi, everybody. Today is July 31st, 2014. And first off, I want to thank everybody that's given me all the awesome feedback from the previous couple of vlogs. I think it's interesting that there are people that really want to watch these things and are enjoying them. So thanks for that. I appreciate the interest and I appreciate the feedback. So thanks. Today, I don't have anything really super deep to talk about, but I noticed that somebody made a comment, not in the comments to the videos or whatever, but somebody had talked to me a couple days ago about how they thought it was cool that my life was so fun, that, everything that I do seems to revolve around fun and games. That your life is all fun and games, Bill. And at first, I was typically sort of I don't want to say insulted, but because it wasn't insulting. It was kind of like, oh, sure, yeah, everything's fun and games. But then I thought about it for a second. I realized, no, they're kind of right, because my life is centered around fun and games. And here's what I mean. My job is to make sure that people are having a good time. And in my DJ work, in karaoke, in whatever it is that I'm doing, my job is to make sure that people are having fun. That's why I'm paid to do what I do. And my passion is games. That's what I want to be doing, is designing games and hopefully getting some of them published at some point, and making games. Games are a large portion of what I do as a recreational activity. I have a couple regular game days that I go to, and I host one at my house. And so I guess fun and games really is kind of what my life is about. But it isn't. When most people say it's all fun and games, they're thinking something different than what it means to me, because I take those things kind of seriously. And maybe that's not what, people envision, but it's the truth. So I kind of wanted to talk about that, because I think that people dismiss things when they're referred to as a game, or they dismiss fun as being something that is, not to be taken seriously. And I kind of wanted to address that a little bit today, because I think it is important. I think that having fun is a crucial part of keeping yourself sane and making sure that you aren't, bogged down in the menial parts of your life. So I guess that's kind of my thing, right? Is I enjoy helping other people have a good time. And I get frustrated when other people around me aren't having a good time. I'm one of those people that I feed off of the enjoyment of others. It's important to me that the people around me are happy, well, as much as possible. And people say that being a people pleaser, that's got sort of a negative connotation nowadays, right? Like, if you're a people pleaser, then that means that you're always trying to keep everybody around you happy, and somehow that's a bad thing. And I guess I don't really understand that. You can't make everybody happy all the time. You're always going to disappoint someone. There's always going to be something that you can't, have control of. There's always going to be somebody that you can't make happy, no matter what you do in this world. But I don't understand why the concept of making people happy somehow is negative nowadays. Isn't that sort of what we're supposed to be doing, is keeping people happy and making, doing what you can to make everybody around you a happier person? Maybe that's not. Maybe I'm all wet on that. But to me, it seems like a better calling than a lot of things that are going on in the world. I think it's better to make people happy than it is to, do things specifically for your own selfish purposes. I feel like at least if you're if your efforts are going towards making people happy, then at least those people are being rewarded, and as a result, you're being rewarded because you know you've done something good. So I don't know, is that really so bad? Is there really, why is there a negative connotation behind this idea of being a people pleaser, of being somebody that thrives on the happiness of others? Because to me, that's the sort of thing that you should be striving towards. But okay, so that's kind of a rabbit hole that I didn't really intend to go down. But the fun and games thing, I think that all of us in the world need to make a bigger priority out of being happy ourselves and by having fun. Now, I know that you can't use that as an excuse to not do the things you have to do. There are responsibilities that we all have, and you can't just, live a hedonistic lifestyle and ignore those responsibilities for what feels good in the moment. That's not always a good response to life in general. But I think that there's nothing wrong with enjoying, a hobby and being passionate about that hobby and doing stuff that is fun for you. In my particular case, it happens to be board games. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy karaoke and I enjoy my DJ business and I enjoy all of those parts of things as well. But I also really enjoy, my board game hobby. Anybody that's been over to my house, I probably made them look in my board game closet at least once. And the response is usually like, wow, really? Holy cow. I didn't even know these games existed, and you have so many of them. And what's funny is that if you talk to any of the real board game collectors out there, my collection's actually fairly small compared to a lot of the real hardcore collectors. But anyway, you find a thing that really makes you happy and then embrace it and do it to the best of your ability. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that maybe we don't, as a world, make a large enough priority out of those sorts of things. And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe that's why, there are so many angry people in the world. And maybe that's why the world is such a negative place nowadays, is that people aren't making time for their happiness. And this can take a lot of different forms. Like my wife, as an example, loves the show The Gilmore Girls. She has sat and watched the entire series on DVD. I can't even count how many times. And she still watches it, and it makes her extremely happy. Now, that might sound weird to some folks, right? Like watching the same show over and over and over again, but that's her way of being happy. And it's a great show, so, it's not like she's mindlessly watching episodes of Jerry Springer over and over again, It's a fantastic show, and so what's wrong with that? To me, nothing. It is not what I would choose to do with my spare or free time, but I'm not her, and that's completely okay. So I think that it's just one of those things where maybe we need to, as people, just kind of step back and take time for whatever the thing is that we love, and whatever the thing is that fulfills us. Whatever that may be. It's not going to be board games for everybody. It's not going to be Gilmore Girls for everybody. It's going to be whatever that thing is that really makes you happy and gives you peace and puts a smile on your face. Make time for that thing. I hope that for some people it's karaoke. I love the fact that I have some people that I see every week at my shows that I know really enjoy singing, and that's fantastic. There are some people that come out and just want to listen to the music, and that's fantastic. Whatever that thing is that really fills you up and replenishes that energy that you spend doing all the things you have to do, make sure that you make time for the things you want to do. Just do that, because you have to. You can't go through life just doing things you have to do. You won't have any energy left for yourself. And I think that that's really, really important. So my life is all fun and games because that's what I've chosen to focus on, and I've been lucky enough to make those fun and games into something of a career and something that people value in me and value the contributions that I can make towards. So I think that's, I don't choose to look at that as a negative. To me, that's a positive. I think that, I get to make a priority out of things that maybe not everybody does. And so I'm certainly not trying to toot my own horn and say that I'm better than people here. But, I think that everybody needs to maybe take a step back sometimes and kind of remember those things because I think they're important. So, thanks for the feedback on all the previous videos. Feel free to leave comments on this video. If you're a YouTuber, make sure you subscribe and give me a thumbs up if that's something you feel like doing, or click like on the video on Facebook or whatever it is. I always appreciate those kind of things. It's great to hear from you guys. If you have any questions, this is I want to be able to answer questions from people too. So I don't, think that I'm any kind of, important person or whatever. But if there is anything that you want to ask it in the comments. And if I'll try and answer as many of them as I can if they're in there. So I don't know. I'm new at this thing, so that feels like the sort of thing that I've seen in other videos. So I'll try it too and see whether it works. So anyway, have a great day, and you will see me tomorrow. Take care.